Greetings and salutations, my friends. Welcome back to the Outsider's Perspective. My name's Ollie, and I am happy to announce that I'm once again in the content creation business. That's right. After a 5-month hiatus from this channel, I'm back, and I'm ready to drop more content for you. More content about the big questions, the art of living, spirituality, philosophy, politics, and every other topic imaginable. But before we dive back into it, I would like to give you a brief update and let you know what I've been doing these last 5 months. In essence, I've spent the last 5 or so months of my life confronting my leftover demons. Now, these are not demons that consume leftovers. There's only one person that consumes leftovers in my house, and that is this guy right here. No, these are inner demons that were left over. Left over from what, you ask? In the spring of 2013, I had an experience that was very strange and very profound. And I call it a transformative experience because after it was said and done, I was a radically different person. Although at the same time, I was more myself than ever before, so it's a bit of a paradox. But in essence, this experience can be likened to a tidal wave of love. I was doing some soul searching while I was at work, and I stumbled onto a place within myself where there was like a valve. And I decided to turn the valve, and what happened was I was flooded with pure divine love. And what I realize in hindsight is that this initial tidal wave of love essentially drowned the vast majority of my inner demons. Now, when I say inner demons, I'm talking about assumptions, beliefs, expectations, and ideas that were irrational, unhelpful, or just inaccurate, that were causing me to suffer unnecessarily. I'm also talking about bad habits and attitudes that I embodied for most of my life. For example, my anger issues. These things just kind of dissolved effortlessly. And it's not like I did something or I was like all high and mighty about it, because this is something that happened to me. I didn't do it to myself. I didn't go out seeking it. It just happened. But here's the thing. There are other things that I needed to address within myself. And what I did after this was I convinced myself that I deserved a break, because I went through an intense period of soul searching and inner work and integration. And so I said, you know what? These last few demons, I'm just going to set them aside because they're not that bad. And I'll address them at a later date. And then days turned into weeks, turned into months. And you guessed it, those months turned into years. And it was around September of last year, September 2020, that I started to feel unwell. Not physically unwell, of course. I started to feel like I was out of alignment with my own truth, like I wasn't living authentically, or like I was overlooking or ignoring certain glaring problems in my life. The way that I started to realize this was through a beautiful ritualistic experience that I had with my good friend Kai. And during this experience, I was meditating and I was writing in my journal. And a question popped into my mind. So I wrote it down in my journal. And the question was very simple. It was, who am I? What is my purpose? Now, I don't know who I was asking this question to, because it was just me meditating and writing in a journal, but I wrote it down anyways. And before I could even think about the question or potential answers, my hand started to write down an answer on its own. An answer that was completely spontaneous. I hadn't considered it. I hadn't thought about it. It just came out. And I can only assume that it came from somewhere deep within me. But the answer that I received was that I am a bringer of wholeness. Now, that blew me away. Because again, these are words I had never considered in that order or in that context. And certainly I feel like there's an element of that in my old content where I'm trying to bridge the gap, for example, between Eastern philosophy and Western philosophy, right? Trying to show the parallels and the overlap between Stoicism and Taoism and Vedic philosophy, between the works of Viktor Frankl and Carl Jung and all these other people, right? So there was always an element of that, but I had never considered myself or even thought about the words bringer of wholeness until this day. And this triggered a chain reaction, essentially, because as I started to contemplate this answer, which was given to me, bringer of wholeness, I started to ask myself, well, how can I be a bringer of wholeness? How can I help people in my life and around me find wholeness in themselves? How can I help groups of people find wholeness and see that the divisions that we are so focused and fixated on are just illusions? How can I do this? And what I quickly realized, my friends, is that in order to bring wholeness to other people, I first had to bring wholeness to myself. And so I began to investigate. And that's when I came face to face with those leftover demons. This wasn't like a sudden experience like my cubicle epiphany. This was, again, over a span of 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe even more months, right? From last September until today, and it's still ongoing. I began to confront these leftover demons, and, well, during this process, I just didn't feel right making content. I felt inauthentic. I wasn't expressing my truth the way I should have been, at least the way I felt I should have been. And so there was this feeling of disconnect and of being counterfeit. And so for this whole period of time, I just kind of avoided making videos. I really wanted to focus on my practice. I really wanted to focus on embodying my truth. And, it's always going to be an imperfect process, right? Nobody that I know gets there and stays there permanently. What I'm happy to report to you today is that I have made great leaps and bounds in this work. And there's 2 leftover demons in particular that were problematic, and I feel very good about where I'm at with them today. I feel like I am much closer to wholeness than I was before. And so I started to feel the itch again. You know the one. The itch to come out here and talk to you and connect with you and share my stories and hear all about yours. So here I am, back to making videos. I've recorded a number of podcasts that are ready to go, and I'll start posting those probably next Sunday, 1 a week like I used to do. And I've got some other ideas for videos. Like, for example, I want to go into more detail about these leftover demons because I think there's great value in being transparent, being vulnerable. I think it's cathartic to share these stories with people, especially when you have enough distance that you can look at them and not still feel that emotional charge. I feel like that's where I'm at now. So yeah, that's what I got planned for the next few months, and I'm excited and happy to be back. And in closing, I would just like to say, I love you. Stay safe, stay sane, and stay healthy in this messed up, crazy world. Don't allow yourself to fall for the games and the weird narratives that try to pit us against each other, Try to rise above it, because we need people right now who are resistant to these false dichotomies that are being shoved down our throats, right? We're all in this together, my friends. And don't forget, it's turtles all the way down. Thanks for listening to me rant and ramble about these last few months. And don't forget to live well.